Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Trying to Figure It Out TV. And I'm going to be honest, it sounds so weird to say Trying to Figure It Out TV because I've been purified the podcast. But seasons are changing. So here we are. Plus, I haven't been really podcasting for real. Since I think the last time I podcasted was like February 20 something. And today is May 20th. So I was kind of nervous turning on the camera today, but I think I was also a little nervous because I'm here to share my testimony of what God has done. God has finally blessed me and Mason, me and my 6-year-old son, with a home. Like, it's been 2 years, and I'm just ecstatic because seeing the blessing made me, I feel like I do this every time, but like seeing the blessing makes me remember all of the steps that happened. It's like, bruh, like God was really like, that's why he did this, and that's why he did this, and that's why he did this. It was all leading up to this moment right here. God has blessed me and my son with a home. Today is May 20th. I just released a video on my birthday, which was May 1st, telling y'all that I was still moving from place to place, telling y'all that I had just lost my job or walked away from my job as a social media manager for a church and a roofing company. And I also told y'all that I didn't have no air in my car. The bumper is missing off of my car, and I didn't have no air in my car that me and my son have to drive around in. And now I'm coming back to tell y'all, not even a month later, that God has blessed us with a home. Not only did God bless us with a home, but he also fixed the air in our car. We're still, looking a little raggedy, but we have air. And if anyone is in Houston, then y'all know that it's already hot and it's May 20th. It's already 90 degrees. But I'm just so amazed. I'm so amazed. I came here to tell y'all the full testimony. I don't want to make it too long, but for those who don't know me, I am going to go a little bit back so you can understand. Before I even get started, I do want to say that I'm just praying that the Lord shows somebody that out of this story that he can do it for you too. Because every time I used to feel like, why every time it get to me, it don't work? Why every time it get to me, it don't work out? I used to feel it deep down inside. I feel like it must have been hope, but I used to feel it deep down inside that it can be done. Bro, I'm about to cry. I used to feel like deep down inside, it can be done, but it's just like, but I haven't seen you do it for me. I want to see that time that you actually do it for me. I know it's possible, but I just haven't seen you do it for me yet. And I feel like I'm at this point in life now where it's like nobody can tell me nothing about God. I'm leaving my information below. So, if there's anyone who wants to help us with furnishing our new home or just helping us turn our Wi-Fi and everything on, then I'm also leaving my Cash App below. But so I just want to go ahead and start from the beginning. So in August of 2021, I lost my job. And that job really was a under the table job. I was making money dishonestly around that time, and I could have went back, but the reason why I didn't is because I knew that I wasn't living right. So that was in August of 2021. In May of 2021, I had just moved into a home where I signed a 2-year lease. My rent was $1,900. At that time, I have a paid off car, but at that time I also had a Silverado, which was an $800 car note. And then all the rest of my bills. So I had a boyfriend who came to live with me, or who came, kind of moved in or whatever in July. So, and we kind of did work together. So he was helping me with the bills. So once I lost my job, I was just finding other little stuff to do. Like Amazon Flex, and I started doing laundry. I started selling clothes, like little stuff, but I didn't have to work too hard because he was there to help me. So he was helping me pay the rent. And right before I lost my job, I was already doing that because I was already looking for other stuff to do, because even my hours at work, they shortened. My hours at work shortened, and then the money that I was making, like, it just started to be slower, and I now had bigger bills to pay. So when I lost my job, I prayed and I said, God, no matter how hard it gets, I'm not working for anyone anymore. I say it all the time. I did not grow up in a church. I don't need two hands to tell you how many times I've been to church. So me praying was just like, I was one of those people who prayed when times got hard, for the most part. Like, there were times I probably prayed, like, God, make sure we get here safe or something like that. But just a real relationship with God, not really. But I didn't grow up in the church. I wasn't taught how to read the Bible, nothing of that nature. So I prayed that prayer. That was August of 2021. Stuff started getting hard because my bills were so high. And then me and the boyfriend broke up in January of 2022. So now all of the bills are on me, even my credit card bills, which I didn't use the credit cards by myself. I've always made sure my credit cards were being paid. You know what I'm saying? Even if I had to rob Peter to pay Paul, they was always paid. Like, I can do bad all by myself. But now that I had help, then it was worse than it would have been by myself. At least that's what I think. So now I don't have the help that I had previously, and now I can't pay for my son to go to daycare. My son is with me all day, but I'm not gonna lie, I was already removing my son from that daycare because they weren't teaching him, and my son is advanced for his age. So, but my son was with me all day. So now I don't have like a set income. I'm just doing things here and there. I was doing laundry. I was organizing homes. My son was with me all day. I was selling clothes online. What else was I doing? I was riding around, I was riding around in my Silverado truck, picking up free stuff off of Facebook Marketplace and then reselling it. I was just all over the place, but my son was with me all day. And I realized over time that I was depressed because I initially thought that the boyfriend was going to come back. He didn't come back. And I was just like, bruh, like, after everything that I went through with you going to leave me? So I was just kind of stuck in the past for real. I was still getting up every day going to work because bills had to be paid, but mentally I wasn't there. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't looking at myself in the mirror, nothing. I was even at the point where I had to cut my son's hair because it was matted up because I wasn't combing it. Like, and then I noticed during that time too that I was not paying attention to him. Like, I was just giving him the iPad. He was on the iPad all day. I would be high, fell asleep, like falling asleep on him, high at nighttime, wouldn't wake up till the next morning. And he's always been he never really been like a all around the place child. So I never really had to worry when I woke up. But I'm just saying that to say that's the place that I was in. So, just after the time of being depressed and everything, and this being the first time of me being left by a man, I'm like, you know what? I hate that this hurts so bad. I never want my child to have to learn like me. So that's where my thought process was. Like, I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to show my son that it's like he don't have to learn like I had to learn. So 8 months down the line, I started talking to one of my friends. Basically, he was my friend for a couple of years, and then I started dating him. I only dated him for about 5 months, and then that ended bad. And then that was January of 2023, which was crazy. The first breakup was January 2022. The second one was January 2023, basically like the same time. So after that ended, I ended up having my first encounter with God, and my whole life changed. Like, I heard God tell me to stop cussing. I stopped getting high. Like, everything changed. So after I had an encounter with God, I started I started like listening to sermons all day, and I realized that, God was there the whole time, like strategically putting things together, right? So that was around January of 2023 when I had my first encounter with God. And then in March of 2023, I heard God tell me to move. And at first I thought I was tripping. I'm like, nah, ain't no way. Move where? Where you want me to move? Like, even though I was struggling in the house that I was in, I was far away from my family, where I didn't have to worry about my family trying to pull up on me or nothing like that. Nobody having to worry about me, or me not having to worry about anyone, because I lived far away from my family. Plus, it was just like I had something to prove, like not to everyone else, but to me, that I could do it because I've done it before in different situations. And I just always been that type of girl to just, I'm gonna make it happen. So I was never planning on moving. Like, I was just going to renew my lease. I knew it was going to be hard for me to find somewhere else to stay because now my credit is messed up. And the previous boyfriend that lived with me, like, there were times that he sent me money, I'm not going to lie, even after he left. But it was like all the bills was on me at this point, that paying my credit cards was not priority. So I hear God tell me to move, and I'm thinking I'm tripping. I ended up going on a fast, and the fast was green only. So basically what I did was just eat broccoli for 14 days. That was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I lost a lot of weight. By the time I started back eating, I was nauseous. It was just crazy, like, for me at that time, but I kept getting confirmation. So when God told me to move, I asked him, where did he want me to move? And I was, like I said, I was in denial. I'm like, nah, I'm tripping. I want to stay here. That was my thought process. So then I ended up having a dream, and in the dream, I saw a sign that said Oklahoma in black and white. So eventually, when my lease was up in May of 2023, I left Houston, Texas, and I went to Tulsa. When I got to Tulsa, I saw that same, like, I saw a black sign near a church that I used to watch in Tulsa. So I was like, that's crazy, because where I lived at in Houston, the signs were green. So when I first got to Tulsa, I was like, okay, God, where do you want me to go? I had already been looking at apartments and stuff. I left with around like $3,600, and I had it in my head that this apartment, there was one specific apartment that I was going to go to. But when I first got there, I didn't hear God tell me exactly where he wanted me to go. And I didn't want to move outside of his will, because hearing God now is new to me. I didn't even know that God could speak. Ain't nobody ever taught me that. So I didn't want to go ahead of him, especially because I was watching a lot of videos and stuff before I left, and people were saying stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't want to go ahead of God. But I got it in my head that this is the place I want to be, but he didn't tell me to go there. So what I did when I first got there was I went to a hotel. After 8 days of being in Tulsa and me steady asking God, where do you want me to go? He says to me, Proverbs 24:27, I believe, get your outdoor work in order and your fields ready. After that, build your house. So I knew that God wanted me to spread the gospel, but when he said that, I'm like, okay, bet, like, get my work in order, and you must just gonna bless me with a place. Like, I'm thinking that I'm finna get blessed with a place because I moved when he told me to move. But because of that, I never went to go look for somewhere to stay. I had that one apartment in my head that I had looked at in Tulsa before I left, but I continued to move from place to place. So I started sharing my journey online. At first, like I said, I'm thinking he finna bless me with a place. So I'm just sharing, oh, God told me to move. And then it ends up turning into a homeless journey. So now my platform is growing and stuff. And I'm like, bruh, this gotta be God, because when I first started, I was only telling y'all, hey, God is real. And he told me to move, like, and you can have this kind of peace that I now experience. I'm sober, I'm saved, and I'm sober. Like, that's what I was doing when I first started. So I think I was in Tulsa for about 3 months. During that time, I realized that God was showing me who he is. So I listened to a lot of sermons before I left. I read the Bible a little bit before I left, but I was really in the Bible when I was in Tulsa. And the things that God was leading me to in the Bible, I realized that those were the exact things that was happening in my life. So eventually I ran out of money in Tulsa. And it was just like people that was randomly sending me money. Before I even said stuff about homeless journey, people was randomly sending me money. Like, I'm talking about family members that I hadn't been talking to. Like, we had fell out. They sending me money for hotels or sending me money for whatever it was they were sending me money for. And I'm like, dang, like, so God does provide. Like, God is showing me that he does provide, because I didn't tell nobody that I was out of money. And that was one of the things that really shined a light on me, because I'm like, I've heard like the black people, like they're going to say it all the time, God provides, but nobody ever gives a true example. So I didn't know exactly what that meant until it happened to me. But when I say I saw things happen in the Bible actually happening to me, Jeremiah said, Lord, you deceived me. That's how I felt. That's how I felt when I was gone, because I was like, bruh, like, if I had known that you was going to have me moving from place to place with my 6-year-old, well, he's 6 now, with my baby, like, ain't no way I would have ever left. You would have had to push me up out of there. Like, ain't no way I would have left. So I started seeing that. Then I started reading like the Israelites or whatever. And I started seeing that like God says, don't try to save the manna. You can't save the manna for the next day. And I was seeing stuff like that happen in my life, because I'm like, okay, we ran out of money. Somebody sends us money. Now I got money for a hotel. Now I got money for gas. Now I got money for food. And I don't have money for nothing else. So basically, while I was in Tulsa, I was like, dang, like God is showing me who he really is. So so after 3 months of being in Tulsa, and I'm trying to make this as short as possible, but after 3 months of being in Tulsa, I hear God tell me to go to Georgia. Now, I'm crying because I don't want to go to Georgia. I'm sorry, he didn't say Georgia. I went to Georgia. He told me Atlanta, and I was not having it, because I've been to Atlanta multiple times, but when I was outside, and I just felt like Atlanta was all outside. I'm like, I don't want to go to Atlanta. And I remember crying, literally crying. I didn't want to go so bad. I was like, their food is nasty. I don't want to go to Atlanta. Their food is nasty. Like, I was not trying to go. But then when I went to Atlanta, that's when I started seeing like real like provision. And I guess probably around that time, that was like when I really started sharing my journey. But I never asked anyone for anything. I didn't post anything online and say, not until towards the end. I didn't post anything online and say, hey, y'all, cash out me. Hey, y'all, I need help. All I did was on my videos, I was saying homeless journey day, whatever. And then I would share a revelation that I got from God while showing whatever it was that we was doing, whatever place we went to get a drink or something like that, basically. But because I seen the provision coming the way it was coming, I'm still moving from hotel to hotel. I'm still moving from place to place, even some days in my car. But we never went without food. We never went without what we needed. So when the Bible says the Lord your God has humbled you and tested you so he can know what's in your heart, I felt it for real, for real. But I'm not gonna lie, when I got to Georgia, I felt like this must be my place because of the way provision was coming in Georgia. But I still wasn't really feeling like I heard God tell me to go to a specific place. So I just continued to do what I was doing in Tulsa. I met a lot of people. Again, like I said, I learned a lot of things about God. One of the main things that I learned in Georgia was there's a scripture that says, he who has left houses, mothers, brothers, and sisters will receive 100 times as much. And when I quote that scripture, people be like, oh, you misquoting that. But like, I'm telling you, I seen me have brothers and sisters all over the world. Like, I'm not talking about the houses. I'm not talking about the materialistic things. I mean, like, I left my family and God gave me more family. That's what I learned a lot of when I was in Georgia. So I just felt like me moving from place to place was God trying to show me who he is, what he can do. And then eventually, so what happened in Georgia is I got pulled over in Georgia. So when I first left Houston, Texas, I didn't have my truck anymore. I had only my paid off vehicle. No insurance, no registration. The entire time of me being gone in Tulsa and in Georgia, never got pulled over. towards the end of this journey in Georgia, I get pulled over by an officer who's saying, you don't have your stuff. He's like, I can tow your car, but I don't want to mess up your family. He sees all of my stuff in the car too. And he's like, okay, I'm going to let you go, but don't leave this parking lot until you get insurance. When he said that, I only had $350 in my bank account. We had an Airbnb already, but I still had to go get food, I believe. But he's like, don't leave out of this parking lot without getting insurance. So I'm crying because I'm so freaking scared. I'm like, I can't be in another state with nowhere to go. And even though with all of the people I met, there was nobody whose house that I could really just live in. So I called some insurance people, and I give them, my information or whatever. And they like, no, you would have to get your insurance in Texas. And I'm like, what? Like, I had already been contemplating that I was like, I'm gonna start getting like my ID and stuff like that in Georgia, since now I have a address, which was a mailbox in Georgia. But when they said that, I'm like, I'm praying. I'm like, God, what I'm gonna do then? Like, because you got me here, like I'm supposed to be here, and everything's been going okay, except for the fact that we don't have nowhere to stay. Why do I have to get insurance in Texas? So I heard God tell me to make peace with the past at one point. I went back to Texas. Then it was like I started seeing Texas stuff. And I'm like, why I keep seeing Texas stuff? So I didn't go directly back to Houston. I went to Dallas. And I don't know exactly why I went to Dallas, but it was probably because God was trying to get me to go that direction, back to Texas. So I was in Dallas, and when I was in Dallas, I started looking for apartments in Dallas, because I'm like, okay, faith without works is dead. I haven't looked at no apartments. In Georgia, I didn't look at no apartments. In Tulsa, I looked at the one apartment complex that I wanted, but I never went and looked at it. So now I'm looking at apartments in Dallas, and I got the information for things that I needed, but I didn't have the money to get an apartment, and I never tried to apply. So I'm just looking at different places every day. And then my mama called me, and she wants us to come out there for Valentine's Day. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go see y'all for Valentine's Day. So I end up driving to Houston for Valentine's Day, but I already got it in my head, we not staying here for long. Like, we just coming to see y'all. So I'm just thinking I'm going to stay there for a month. It ended up being longer than expected. Then Miss V texts me and say, hey, Alea's having graduation if you want to come. Miss V is someone that I met in Georgia. And I'm like, bet, this my way out. This my way out of Houston. My key stops working to my car. My mama boyfriend is supposed to help me fix it, but he is making it like the problem is much bigger than what it actually was. So basically, I didn't get out there. But I'm thinking this is my way back to Georgia. That way back to Georgia never happened. So obviously, God wanted me to stay where I was at that time. So it has now been, it's May 20th. I got to Houston February 14th or 15th of 2024 is when I got to my mama house just to visit. Around June or July, I started to get frustrated with God. And I was like, why am I back here? And why am I not gone yet? Like, now I'm mad. Because why did you just make me do all that? I listened to what you told me to do. And now I'm at my mama house with people who thought I was crazy when I left. Why am I here? Why am I here? So I started I'm talking about mad. I was mad at God. Like, I didn't want to pray. And when I was praying, I was like, bro, I'm mad at you. Like, I don't want to talk to you. So eventually God ended up giving me this revelation. And I realized that, I'm mad at God for something he never told me he was going to do. God never told me, move to Tulsa, move to Georgia. I'm going to bless you with a home. He never said that. He told me to move. So obviously, what he needed from me was obedience. He never told me that he was going to bless me with a place in either of those places. He never did. There are times where people say, God told me to move and he showed me this place and I ended up in a place just like that. That didn't happen for me. That wasn't my story. God didn't show me a home and say, I'm going to bless you with this house. That never happened for me. All God told me is move. That's what he told me. And that's what I did. And I learned a lot about God in those places, but I had to accept that. So I was mad. Once I accepted that, I'm like, all right, man, like, it is what it is. Like, I'm in my mama's house. I think I was more angry about the fact that, you know, my mama and them was trying to make it like I was crazy when I left and said God told me to move. But my people ain't never talked about having an encounter with God. Like, I ain't never seen nobody in my family like have an experience like me, but they grew up in the church. So if you have ever had an encounter with God, then you know the real. Like, sometimes people grow up in the church and they don't know God. They honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. So, like, I had to learn that, but they thinking I'm crazy. So I'm like, man, like, I hate that I'm here with the same people who mistreated me when I left, with the same people who didn't believe that God would tell me to do something like that when he told Abraham to do it. The same people that say, I believe in God, I believe in the Bible, but then would say God wouldn't tell me to do that when it's in the Bible that he told someone else to do it. So, and not only that, one of the things that God brought me to Abraham, I'm sorry, I digress. But when I first left, I was watching videos on YouTube and people were saying God told Abraham to move. But because I thought I was tripping already and they were saying that scripture, I had never read it though, because I'm now new to the Bible. I'm now new to God. I just felt like that scripture was too easy to say, oh, I saw that scripture and God told me to move. So I wasn't having it. I never read it. I didn't read it until the July after I left. So May, June, July. 2 months later, I read it. But that was only because the Holy Spirit told me to. And when I read it, it was because people were online saying, God wouldn't tell you to do that. So God told me to read it, and I realized that both Abraham and Lot left at the same time. And when you start reading about Lot, you see that it says the door to his house. But when you're reading about Abraham, you see that he's moving from place to place in tents. When you read it, you see that. I felt God go through my body about 7 times when I was reading that, knowing, okay, I'm not crazy. But anyway, so now I get over the fact that I was mad at God. I accept the fact that God never said he was going to bless me in those places. And I accepted what it was. And I'm like, you know what? I believe that what God was trying to show me at that time, which I made a video about it. I'll clip it somewhere. But I made a video about it basically saying that I feel like God was trying to show me what he could do. And that basically, like a time as now, I can remember God saying, do you remember what I did for you at the Red Sea? When I had absolutely no money and nobody knew. And God provided for me. When there are times in my life where I feel like my back is against the wall, that's a time where nobody was with me, only me and my son, where I actually got to see God's hand move in the most mysterious ways. I feel like that's what that journey was for me to learn who God is, for me to remember what God did for me at the Red Sea. Do you not remember me parting the Red Sea for you? And you walked on it, walked on dry land. Do you not remember? So I accepted it. I started getting out. I started just saying, you know what? I'm just do what I've been doing, which is creating content. Now this is my lane now. You know what I'm saying? I got a platform now. People asking me to come places. So I started meeting up with people, basically just going to creator events, stuff like that. I'm just like, I'm just going to do what I've been doing. Like, what else is there for me to do? Get your outdoor work in order. So there were 2 reasons why I didn't want to be in my mama's house. 1 being they thought I was crazy. 2 being I just can't be in the same place with my mama for a long time. At least that's how I was feeling. And even though I was accepting where I was, it doesn't mean I was the happiest. So I would still go different places, like basically packing bags in different places for me and my son to go. But around January now of 2025, I started to feel stuck. I was like, my credit is not good. Now, I started working on my credit in 2024. I started using Self. And I was paying on Self, and my credit went up about 40 points. I was at like a 620. But then some old stuff came on my credit sometime around January something of 2025. And I was like, bruh, like I did all of that just for my credit to go back down with some stuff that I ain't even know was on there. It was like $180 Comcast bill and like $80 for, I don't know. It must have been something that was at the house that I was living in. So I actually had to call the people because I'm like, I ain't never had no Comcast. Like, so I called them or whatever, and they told me, they gave me the address to the house that I used to live in. And I was like, dang, like, okay, I guess I just don't remember. But I guess I must have not turned everything off or something. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna just pay them. But I was still feeling stuck because I was a social media manager for a church and a roofing company. But the work that I was doing was so much more work than what I was getting paid. Let me tell you. I'm gonna be transparent now because it's over with. I was making $1,800 a month for a whole month being a social media manager, and most social media managers are not charging less than $1,800 for one person. And that's just to manage social media, not to go and get your content. So that's all I was making. My bills are $900. My suite, my car insurance, myself, and what other bill do I have? My phone bill. So yeah, they like $800-900 by themselves. Plus, I'm trying to invest in myself, get the furniture for the suite, and you know, ways for me to get clothes and stuff like that, so I can make videos online. And some people might feel like that's not important for you to do, but those are my talents. My talents is doing my hair and getting dressed, and that's how I can make some sort of income off of social media. So I'm investing in myself. I gotta get gas. I gotta get food. And I got bills to pay. So even with making the $1,800 a month, it was helping me get the things that I needed. But to save or do something else, it just really wasn't, like, I wasn't making that much. Even with not paying rent in my mama's house. Like, at one point I had to save $700 just so I could get in this suite. So yeah, like I just wasn't, like, I just didn't have money like that for real. But I was like, man, I feel stuck because now my credit is bad again. Now I'm at the point my air is not working in my car. My mama boyfriend kept saying he was gonna fix it. Even though he could fix it, he wasn't fixing it. Then I ended up going to my friend. She had her uncle help fix it, and then it went out again. So it was just like, bruh, I started to get real irritated because I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck where I am. I feel like there is no way out for me. Like, my credit is bad, my car is messed up. I could do laundry again, but my car is messed up because I used to do mobile laundry. I'm trying to invest in myself, but I don't have money for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like there was no way for me to get out of my mama's house. So that was around January when I was feeling like stuck. I started to feel stuck. And like I said, my friend got her uncle to fix my air one time, the first time. And I was telling her at that time, I was like, you know, I feel stuck. I feel like, you know, my credit is messed up, whatever. She'll tell you. That was sometime in March. She was like, girl, that's not gonna stop what God want to do. I got XYZ on my credit and I got places to stay and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, all right, like, I hear you. But I never looked for nowhere to stay either because I was like, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be at. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing for real. Plus, I just kept remembering God say, get your outdoor work in order. So it's just like, I didn't feel like, I watched plenty of testimonies, and people are like, I applied for this place, God denied. I applied for that place, God denied. And then this one I was approved supernaturally. I never felt it in my spirit to go apply for nowhere. I never felt God tell me to go nowhere. I have always been the hustle and grind girl. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. But I ain't been having that same drive in me no more. Like, I've surrendered to the Lord. I just haven't been having that feeling where I'm just like, I can make this happen and I'm going to go make it happen. So I never went to apply for nowhere to stay. So I told my friend that in March. It was around the same time my friend got her uncle to help me with my air in the car. I started sleeping in my suite. Me and my son started sleeping in my suite. I would sleep at the suite from like Monday to Thursday. And then the end of the week, I would go to my mama's house because it was easier. You know, it's easier where there's an actual shower and, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But I started to get so irritated at my mama's house that I started to sleep at my suite. Then even going there for the weekend started to become even more frustrating. And it was like, I cannot be here. Like, soon as I get here, I'm just irritated. Like, so start packing my bags again to go different places, like just going from place to place still. But I had stopped talking about it online because when I got to 7 months of moving from place to place, I made a video. I put the caption in there. If I didn't delete it, I probably archived it. But I put a caption in there saying, I feel like this journey is coming to an end. My journey of moving from place to place and sleeping in a car and all of that stuff like that, I just felt like it had come to an end. So my journey, me sharing that as a journey online, I just wasn't like, I'm not finna keep on telling people I'm homeless, like, and they like, oh, but you got a room at your mama's house. Like, so I just wasn't finna tell nobody for real that I was still moving from place to place, but I was. So, yeah, so I got more irritated. And then my son's dad, he was recently incarcerated. So when it comes to like help and stuff, that's all I'm gonna say. But I hadn't heard from him, and we cool, but it just won't ever be that. So I hadn't heard from him. I reached out to him, and I was kind of mad that I hadn't heard from him because he hadn't asked, do Mason need anything? Comes to find out, his girlfriend passed away. So we went to his house to go check on him or whatever. And then when I'm talking to him, I'm telling him about my car. He like, you know what? The man down the street that we be going to, we can take it over there and see if it's going to be, you know, how much you think it's going to be. So he helps me drop my car off over there. And his mama, we end up going to his mama house one day. And I guess she had questioned him about, you know, like if we were together or whatever the case may be. And he was like, no, like they came over there to check on me or whatever. But she said that she hadn't been wanting to be, you know, at a mama house. So my son's dad lives in Texas. She don't live in Houston, but she lives in a part of Texas, and she has land in Texas, and she has a house built in Texas, but she also has land in another place, and she has 2 tiny homes in another place. So she tells him to ask me if I want to live in one of her tiny homes. So he took me to the tiny homes to go see them, to go walk inside of them or whatever, and I was like, this looks like stability. So I'm so excited about looking at the tiny homes, right? But I'm like, I don't know if this is what God wants me to do. So I'm praying about it or whatever. A week later, I go get a facial from this girl that I met via social media, woman of God. While I'm talking to her, she's like, did you ever get a place? I'm like, no, I'm still kind of just going from place to place. But I don't know exactly what's going on with the tiny home because my son's dad is talking to his mom outside of me. And so when she asked me about the house, I told her I'm still moving from place to place. And she was like, well, you can come live with me. I'm like, dang, like that's crazy. Okay. So I'm like, I'm going to pray about that. So I was trying to figure out what was going to happen with the tiny home. So she ends up texting me, the friend ends up texting me the next day and says, hey, let me know if you want to take up the room in my house. It'll be ready in July. It's the beginning of May. And I am irritated at my mom's house. I don't have until July. But then the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, this just feels like another of the same situation. She lives super far. I'm still gonna have to pack my bags to whenever I gotta take Mason to my mama's house, and it just still feels like instability on top of the fact that I'll be in somebody's house and I won't be giving them nothing. So I was not feeling like I was a little anxious about that. But then the day or two after Mother's Day, then I learned that now I can go to the tiny home. 3 months free. $500 in rent. I was worried about my credit that I didn't need to be worried about. I basically just lost my job. I have had enough money put up for us to make it throughout the month with bills being paid and us being able to have what we need. But even though I've been out looking for another client and stuff like that, I don't have income right now. But I did not need income to get into the home that God wanted me in. God don't need your credit score. God don't need your income if he want to bless you with something. God didn't need me to go out and look for a place. Not me, not for my personal situation. I was obedient and I did what God told me to do. Get your outdoor work in order is what he said. And while I did that, he was already working something else out for me. Oh, you know what? I left out something. I went and paid the $80 bill, but the other bill that was like $100 and something, it disappeared. It's not on my credit no more. All I did was call the people and say, hey, what is this? It's not on my credit no more. I don't know where it's at. I don't know what happened to it. And there's someone that I met that I was podcasting with. Actually, his name is Lucci. If you ever want to learn anything about credit, go ask him. I texted him and I said, hey, I asked him something about credit in the beginning of May because I'm trying to work on my credit. God did not need my credit for what he blessed me with. I don't have a job anymore. I don't have no income coming in anymore. I don't have rent for 3 months. I didn't need none of that for God to bless me when he wanted to bless me. So I feel like, people say all the time, faith without works is dead. And I wholeheartedly believe that you shouldn't just sit around and do nothing. But I want to let you know that faith without works, the works is not always, well, let me go work for it. The works is not always, well, let me go hustle and grind for it. Let me go strive for it. Sometimes the works is obedience. Whatever God told you to do, that's the work. All of that, I'm going to just go work hard. I'm going to just go hustle and grind. I really in my heart believe that one of the reasons why I needed to be at my mama's house and feel like I had no other way is so that I could be delivered from that. Because nothing in this world really works because you did it. It's only because God wanted it to. God can use whoever he want to use to bless you. Some people probably wouldn't have wanted to take that opportunity because of who it was. But because the other girl, knowing that's a woman of God, asked me and she said July, I knew that the tiny home was for me. Let me tell you, I left the home that I was in May 2nd or it was either May 1st, my birthday, or May 2nd of 2023. My son's dad's mom was asking him about giving me the tiny home on my birthday, May 1st of 2025. That's exactly 2 years. I went the other day to look online at the home. It's not even no pictures on there. It's one picture of 2 tiny homes on the property. It's no extra pictures or nothing online. I go look online. It says that she took the houses off the market April 30th of 2025. That is exactly 2 years. Exactly 2 years. It happened at the same time. I started to feel frustrated. I started to feel like I just was never going to make it out of my mama house. When all of those things, when I started to feel those things, that all of that frustration, that was God pushing me out. And the crazy part is, I remember, even though I didn't want to leave the house that I was in before God told me to move, this same frustration that I feel now, I felt then. But it wasn't until we got blessed with the home that I realized, bruh, that's the same thing that happened the first time. Like, very intense frustration. Like, I can't be here. Like, I'm walking in the house, I'm irritated. I don't want to be here no more. Like, I just can't believe that God did it for me. But it's like I knew that he could do it for me. Like, all of the things that has happened, I know that this was God. And just before I leave, let me just add this. There was a video that I posted when I was in Georgia. I was in the Airbnb. No, 2 actually, 2 different ones. One of them, I said that God told me that it was never about a home. Me moving from place to place was never about a home. That was something that I had to remember. Another video, I said that God told me, it's ready, but I'm preparing you. These houses have been on the market. She been having these houses. She took them off the market on April 30th. Talking to my son's dad on May 1st about me moving there, which is my birthday, which is the day that I left Houston. And now I live in one of them. I'm just constantly, every day, I just been thinking about how God has literally did everything that he did to lead me up to this. Even down to the point of like, okay, I know there was a few things that I had to deal with being in my mama house. It was boundaries. It was, which I just recently talked about, it was boundaries. It was letting go of the hustle and grind. It was making peace with the past and pride. But making peace with the past, I had to tell my mama about more things that happened to me in life. Like I said, about the hustle and grind and boundaries. I realized that I needed to learn boundaries. One reason why I don't like being in my mama house, I felt like it was all because of personality differences. But what I really needed to learn is boundaries. If I tell you that it's a boundary and you keep doing it and access is revoked, that's on you. But if I don't know how to tell you that it's a boundary, then we have a problem. So I feel like I needed to learn boundaries for wherever God is taking me, even when it comes to my landlord. But for me, telling my story, I just want you to know, like, if you are someone that God told to move and your story don't look the way you thought it was going to look, just hold on. It took 2 years for me to get a home, but it took 2 years for me to get a home and I never went looking. If you are believing God for somewhere to stay, now I can say it. And not just from a place that I believe, I can say it from experience that God can and God will do it for you. It just might not be when you want it to be. God is going to move on his time. God is going to use who he wants to use. God is going to do it the way he wants to do it, not the way that you made up in your head that he should do it, like me in the beginning. Well, you told me to move, so you must going to bless me. No. God is going to do it when he want to do it, how he want to do it, through he wants to do it, through whoever he wants to do it through. His word says my ways are higher than your ways and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. But I just hope that this encouraged someone, and I am so blessed to say that God has finally blessed me and my son with a home exactly 2 years after I left the house that I was in. It wasn't for no reason. If God got you moving from place to place, if you moving from place to place, I promise you it's going to be over soon. And wherever you at right now, you closer to the end than when you first started. There's something that God wants to teach you. If you got to go to your mama house, there's something that God wants to teach you. The easiest thing that people say is, oh, it's pride, it's pride. It's bigger than that. I'm telling you, it's bigger than that. Let my testimony be a testament to you. He will do it for you. You just got to trust him. You got to believe him, and you got to continue to be obedient. So there's something that I need to say. The tiny home that I'm living in, the tiny home that I'm about to move into, I actually didn't move into it yet because I wanted to give God his glory before I even got in there. But the tiny home that I'm moving in, it's in the country, and I'm a city girl. I'm from the suburbs. I'm from the city. I ain't never been in the country before. I know people call me country all the time. They say I got a country accent, like I'm from somewhere country, but I'm not. I'm really from the suburbs for real. But this tiny home that I'm about to move into is about to be in the country. So I'm gonna have to learn how to learn my life in a country way. And I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. So I'm about to start a content series called City Girl in the Country. And I'm going to be telling my story, like having a lot of, posts about, like my old posts about, when we were homeless and, just how God brought us out. But I'm going to be showing y'all how I'm adapting to my new country life. But me being in the country, I am no longer going to be in Houston, although I'll still be like tagging myself in Houston because I'm not too far from Houston, but I am closer to Dallas. But I just won't say exactly where I'm at. But since I'm moving to the country, I'm like around lots of trees and stuff, right? So if I don't have Wi-Fi, I'm not going to make it. For one, because I work online. And two, because when you're around all them towers and stuff and you don't have Wi-Fi, your phone don't work. But because it's in a rural area, I have to get some very reliable internet. And my landlord said that Starlink is the best one to get, which is Elon Musk's internet service, and it's going to cost $600 just to get it installed. It'll only be $100 a month, but it's $600 for the equipment and everything. And apparently you get to keep the equipment and you get to take it to whatever place you go to next. So like I said, I'm not working, although I am looking for new clients for social media management. So if you know anyone, tap in. But I'm leaving my Cash App below. If anyone feels, just if you feel something on your heart to sow a seed to help us, I'm leaving my Cash App. But I'm also leaving a registry. I created a registry, like a gift list of things that we need for the house. We definitely need a bed. We definitely need beds. But I just put like some cheap little bed rails on there, so they're under $100. But I'm leaving a link to our gift list if anyone wants to help us out with furniture. And I just really hope that this encouraged someone, because I feel like I can breathe now. I feel like no one can tell me who God is. It doesn't mean that I won't get weary again, but it's just like, I remember what you did for me at the Red Sea. I remember what you brought me through in the wilderness. But yeah, congratulations to Mia and Mason. The Lord has done it for another one of his children. Let all the glory go to him. Let the glory be to God. He is not a man that he should lie. Okay? He's going to take care of you But suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. I'll see y'all on the next episode of Trying to Figure It Out TV, where I'll be talking about the power of letting go of things that God tells you to let go of. Bye, y'all.